Hello students, so today we are going to start with a new chapter, that is a photosynthesis. So in the previous videos we have already completed about the absorption by roots and transpiration, and how the absorptions of root and transpiration was important. Same like that, photosynthesis is important as well, because in transpiration and absorption by root we have discussed about the water and the minerals part of the plant. Today we shall discuss like how the plants can prepare their own food with the help of the photosynthesis. We have already heard about this term photosynthesis. Let's talk about photosynthesis in detail today. Plants are called self food producer. Okay. The self food producers here means the plants prepare their own food. There are millions of diversity, millions of organisms, but among those only plant are the living organisms who prepare their own food. So that is why they are called the food producers, not the food consumers. Okay, they are called as the food producers. The word producer means like plants prepare their food, and when the plant prepare their food, many organisms like animals, humans, etc., many organisms feed upon them. So that is why plants are also called as autotrophs. You have already studied this in your lower standards. Autotrophs. The word autotrophs means auto means self and trophs means food. Okay. Trophs means food and auto means self. So plants are very much importance to the human life. Now, what do you mean by term photosynthesis? The process in which the plants prepare their own food, okay, with the help of the raw material, that is carbon dioxide and water, in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. Okay, in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. So what are the raw materials? Like carbon dioxide and water. Okay, and what will be the finished product? Finished product will be the food. So definitely the photosynthesis process is not that easy. Definitely it has to depend upon some enzymes. So this sunlight and chlorophylls gives the projection, okay, gives the productions to these plants so that they can produce the glucose. Glucose means the food only. Now let's understand with the help of one image. See, what does this image indicates? This is the energy which is made like a sun, okay, which is a sun. It is giving the sunlight. This is a leaf, okay, this is a plant, you can say. What they are taking? They are taking the water from the soil and carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. And where are these chlorophyll are present? The chlorophylls are present inside the leaf. What happens when all these activities like light energy, carbon dioxide level, water level, all have been taken up by the plants? The plant definitely is going to release something. So that is oxygen, and glucose is formed. This glucose is formed. This glucose we can call it as food in very easy language. Okay. Now let's understand with the help of an equation. See, this is a solar energy. What the plant is taking in? They're taking in carbon dioxide. with the help of the water. And photosynthesis here means sunlight and in the presence of chlorophyll. Okay, they are making glucose. Glucose here means food and releases oxygen. Why is oxygen necessary? Oxygen supports all life on the earth. Without oxygen, no living being can survive. Okay, and food, ultimately the food is also said to be the survival resource for the humans. And this glucose provides you with the energy. The more the energy inside the human, the more the efforts he can put for this work. So that is why sun is considered to be the primary source of the energy also. Importance of photosynthesis, as we have seen this reaction, glucose and oxygen has been formed. So glucose here means the food, and oxygen is essential because it supports the life on the earth, and without the oxygen a living organisms cannot survive. Chlorophyll. Chlorophyll. What is a chlorophyll? Chlorophyll is the vital plant pigment. The word vital here means important. It's very important. Vital means important. Plant pigment. You have already heard about this term pigments. What do you mean by pigments? Pigments means that impart colors. Okay, pigment here word means that imparts the color. That imparts the color. As in the humans, some of the humans are quite dark in nature and some of them have a fair complexion. So this is due to the pigment only. But the pigments in the humans are called melanin. You have already studied in your 9th standard about the melanin. Okay, but as this is all about the plants, so definitely the name of the pigment which give green color texture to the plant is known as the chlorophyll. Okay, where these chlorophylls are present? These chlorophyll are present in the small microscopic cell organelles. What do you mean by cell organelles? They the organs which are present inside the cell. We have already discussed about the plant cell and the animal cells. Okay, this is a plant cell and this is an animal cells. So there were different organelles like endoplasmic reticulums, okay, ribosomes. In your 9th standard you have cleared this part. In the chloroplast, so it means this plant cells have a chloroplast. Inside the animals there is no chloroplast because the animals are not going to provide the photosynthesis process. Okay, the chloroplast will be only present inside the plants because they have to perform the photosynthesis process. Let's see of the structure of the chloroplast. See, this is basically a structure of a chloroplast. So first we are going to discuss about the structure. Okay, how does this cell organelle, that is a chloroplast, looks like? See, we can see from this diagram very clearly. This is the outer membrane, okay, inner membrane. Like how we used to have a cell wall and a cell membrane, same like that, the outer membrane of the chloroplast and the inner membrane of the chloroplast. Okay, now this is a thylakoid. What is a thylakoid? Thylakoid is a flat sack like structure. Okay, you can assume like a coin. Okay, suppose this is a coin. It's a flat sack like structure which is responsible for the light reaction to happens. This light reaction we are going to understand in much more detail. As of now, you just keep in mind that these thylakoids are responsible for the light reaction to happen. Okay, these thylakoids are the flat sack like structure, you can assume like coin. Okay, when these thylakoids are arranged in the piles means, like suppose this is a one coin, this is another coin, this is another coin, like this structure will be called as a grana. Okay, this structure is called as a grana. A single will be called as thylakoid, and when they are arranged in this piled form, so they will be called as a grana. But where are these grana located? They are located on the colorless ground that is called stroma. What is this stroma? As thylakoid was responsible for the light reactions to happen, same like that this stroma helps for the dark reaction. This stroma helps for the dark reaction. Now, this stroma is basically nothing but the colorless substances. Okay, you can assume that this is a ground, so ground is called the stroma. But there are about 40 to 50 chloroplasts in a cell. In one single cell, suppose this is one cell, suppose. So there are 40 to 50 like this green color pigmentations present. I am making it blue, but originally it is green in color. So there are 40 to 50 chloroplasts in the cell. The pigment chlorophyll is contained in the wall of the thylakoids. This thylakoid contains chlorophyll. What does it contains? It contains chlorophyll. So because of the chlorophyll, the plant gets a green color structure. And this chlorophyll are made up of organic compounds. Okay, it's made up of the organic compounds like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and there is one inorganic compound, that is the magnesium. See, this is very important. You should be able to collect this part. Why? Because this magnesium part question is asked for the correlation. Like you have already heard about the word hemoglobin. The hemoglobin means which gives the red color texture. Okay, so what is the main component of the chlorophyll? That is the magnesium. Okay, so you should understand. Now as we have discussed, the chlorophyll are located inside this chloroplast. But where these chloroplasts are located? They are located in the upper epidermis and the lower epidermis. We have already understood of the structure of the leaf. There is one structure like this cuticle part, and there were many cells like this. Okay, and there was some empty spaces, and again there was a structure, there was a guard cell. So this is the upper epidermis, and this is the lower. Okay, and where these chloroplasts are located? in the mesophyll region. Mesophyll region means we are going to discuss this structure in detail later on. So this was all about the structure of the chloroplast. As these chloroplasts are very minute in structure, they are observed under the electron microscope. Okay. Now, one would think why the plants are green in color. It's a very general knowledge question. Why the plants are green in color? This is due to the presence of the chlorophyll. Because here we will discuss about the word chlorophyll. The word chloro means green. The word phyll means leaf. The word chloro means green and the word phyll means leaf. See, why plants are green in color? Because we know the colors of the rainbow, that is Vibgyor. Plants mostly absorb this blue color part like violet, indigo, blue, and these colors red, orange, yellow, these colors. See, the only part which the plant does not absorb is the green. Why it does not absorb greens? Because see, these colors get reflected. Okay, because suppose see, if this Vibgyor in this violet, indigo, blue color, yellow, orange, red colors have been absorbed, the only part that plants give away is green. So that is why all the plants seems to be green in color. Okay, but now one would think, okay, why does this blue color and the red color is absorbed by these plants? What is the use of this blue and red color? See, blue color helps in the production of chlorophyll. So this blue color helps in the production of chlorophyll. So because of this, the plants leave the leaves part and the stem part leaves strong and healthy. See, more the chlorophyll, more the strength of the plant. Okay, it will get a proper amount of leaf and the stems will be quite fixed and strong in nature. So that is why blue is needed. But now, why red is needed? Because the red color is needed because the plants and the flowers can be produced for making flowers and to produce fruits, because they have the different color pigmentation. Okay, so that is why the plant need this pigmentation. So that is why the flowers and the plants, the flowers and the fruits have the different colors. Okay, so that is why this red color has been absorbed. The chlorophyll are 9. Okay, there are 9 types of chlorophyll, but the two most abundant well known chlorophyll are the chlorophyll A and B. A and B are the most abundant chlorophyll. Now, opening and closing of the stomata. Let's understand in detail. There is two kind of a theory. One is the potassium ion concentration theory, and the other one is the sugar concentration theory. Now, before starting off these theories, let's understand these opening and closing of the stomata. See, during daytime, during daytime, the stomata are very much open like this. So because of this, there can be a diffusion like the oxygen. Okay, there is a diffusion of the gases like oxygen, carbon dioxide, and the water also get transpire out from the plant. Okay, this happens during the daytime because the guard cells are in the turgid position. Okay, are in the turgid state. But what happens during the night time? The plant lose the water from the guard cells. Okay, inside the guard cells, they lose the water, they become flaccid like this. They become flaccid like this. When they become flaccid, so what happens? There is no absorption of water, no diffusion of gases takes place. So that is why they releases oxygen during the night time. So this was all about the opening and closing of the stomata during daytime and during night time. Now let's understand this potassium ion concentration theory. Okay, this opening and closing depends on the potassium ion concentration theory, and this is the recent theory. Okay, recent means newly founded. Okay, why there is the opening of the stomata and why there is a closing of the stomata. See, so first I would like to introduce with the concept of the active transport. What do you mean by active transport? Active transport means, see, I am discussing this theory. Okay, active transport means moving from the lower to higher concentration with the help of ATP. Moving to the low to high concentration with the help of the ATP. So first we are going to discuss what happens during the daytime. See, this we will discuss first, open stomata, that is during the daytime. So we can see this part, there are the arrow that are moving in, like K plus ion and the water are moving in. So why they are moving in? First, see, what does active transport means? Active transport means moving from lower concentration to the higher concentration with the help of ATP. See, we have seen in the active transport diagram, that there is more amount of mineral inside the plants than in the soil. So there is a less amount of minerals in the soil. So because of this ions like K plus ions moves inside okay, moves inside the plant. So as this moves inside the plants with the help of the ATP, so there is a more production of ATP. So when this happens, so there is a more of minerals and less of water inside the plant. Suppose this stomata, this guard cell, there is more of ions, there are more K ions, and the water level is very less. So what we have studied in the osmosis, moving from the higher concentration to the lower concentration. So as the soil has a lot amount of the water, and the water inside this guard cell is very less, so due to the osmosis this water moves in. So as this water moves inside these guard cells become turgid. Okay, turgid. As these guard cells become turgid, the stomata opens. Okay, we have already covered this part in the absorption by roots also. But what happens during the night time? As the plant loses the K plus ion, see, plant loses this K plus ion, and what happens when they lose these ions, potassium ions? The amount of water inside the plant is more right now. So through osmosis, the water exit out of these plants. So the plants become flaccid now. Okay, the plant becomes flaccid. So as the plant becomes flaccid, so what is going to happen? The plant will decrease in size. Okay, the stomata will close. So there would be no diffusion of the gases, as well as no exchange of ions will take place. So this was during the night time, and this opening stomata was during the daytime. Now we are going to discuss about the sugar concentration theory, which is a hypothesis, which was the older theory. This old theory was corrected by this theory, this potassium ion theory. See, sugar concentration theory. Here the stomata is open, here the stomata is closed. So before starting of this part, we would like to start up with the basic structure. Okay, what is guard cell consist of? Guard cells have one nucleus. There are 40. Okay, there are many chloroplasts inside this. There is a vacuole which holds the water and give the turgidity to the cells. This is a guard. Okay, this is a basically guard cell, and the outer wall is called the cell wall. So this was all about the structure. What happens in a sugar concentration theory? See, during daytime, the guard cells being photosynthesis. Okay, and because of this, there is a more amount of glucose. I mean to say sugar. More amount of the sugar is present inside this. Okay, as the more amount of sugar, that is the glucose only, is present inside this, and the water level is very less, so same the process is going to happen. The water is more outside. Okay, the water is more outside, so what is going to happen? This water is going to move into this guard cells. As this water is going to move inside these guard cells, so definitely what is going to happen? The cells, or these guard cells become turgid, and the stomata will open. What happens during the night? The stomata gets closed. Why the stomata gets closed? Because during night time there is no production of the sunlight. As there is no production of the sunlight, because this is the phase during the night, so what is going to happen? the glucose which is present inside this guard cell was much more. Okay, so what is going to happen? The plants are going to respire. So because of this, the plants are going to respire, so these glucose molecules will get breakdown. This glucose molecule which was present, it got breakdown. When these glucose molecules gets breakdown through respiration, okay, so what is going to happen? There will be less amount of a glucose now, because all the glucose is getting broken down in the night. So there will be more water. So what happens in the osmosis? The water will move out of these guard cells, and due to this the plant become flaccid, and when the plant become flaccid, the stomata closes. It is the same process like potassium ion concentration theory. The only thing is, in the olden days it used to believe that this opening and closing of stomata is used to happen due to the sugar concentration theory, but in the modern day era it was proved that it was due to the potassium ion concentration theory. So this was all about the potassium ion concentration theory and sugar concentration theory. Closing of the stomach. So when the plant lose water, here the losing of water means the exoosmosis. From the guard cells, they become flaccid, and so the stomata gets closed. Now we are going to discuss about the process of photosynthesis, how the plants prepare their food. So before starting of the process of photosynthesis, let's understand this leaf diagram, then we can continue with the process of photosynthesis. See, we have already covered up this leaf structure before also, but now we are going to understand about the photosynthesis. See, this upper part is called the epidermis. Okay, below the epidermis there is the palisade cells. Below this there is a spongy cells, and there is some space in between, we can see out here. Okay, here, so it is nothing but the water vapor. And what is the use of the water vapor? For the transpiration. This collection of the palisade cells and the spongy mesophils together, they are called as the mesophyll cell. Why they are called as the mesophyll cell? Because here the word meso means the middle, and the phill means cell. Phill means leaf, sorry. Middle, and phill means leaf. So what is the mechanism? See, this rays, okay, this arrow indicates that the sunlight is trapped by these leaves, okay, trapped by this leaf during the daytime. So what is going to happen when this sunlight is trapped? There is chlorophyll. What is where is chlorophyll present? This chlorophyll are present in the palisade cells. Okay, we can see this green color. Okay, we can see this green color. See this layer. Inside this green there are green structures. These are the chlorophyll, which give the green color pigmentation. So this light energy is absorbed in this palisade cells in the chlorophyll, and this chlorophyll convert this light energy into chemical energy. What is the work of this chemical energy? To prepare the food. Okay, to prepare the food. So it needs two raw material. that is carbon dioxide and water. Okay, and because of this the plants can prepare their own food. So this palisade cell is very much important. This spongy mesophyll, this spongy means this layer is full of air and water, because see the plants will be needing this sunlight, but at the same period of a time the water will be needed. So who is going to provide the water? This spongy mesophyll. This palisade cells will have a lot of chlorophyll. So because of all this reaction, because of all this part, there is one reaction that is going to happen, and this reaction is called as the photosynthesis. And here in the spongy mesophyll there would be a projection of carbon dioxide level also, because the plant takes in carbon dioxide. Okay, now there would be a two main phases of the photosynthesis. Let's understand them in detail. That is the light dependent phase, which is called as the photochemical phases, and there is one more, that is the light independent phase, which is called as the dark phase. This light dependent phase is called photochemical phases. It is called photochemical phase. Why it is called photochemical phase? Because here sunlight is necessary. Okay, the plant will depend on the sunlight. And where does this light reaction is going to take place? They are going to take place in the chloroplast. There is a structure called thylakoids. Okay, so what is the first step? Activation of the chlorophyll. See what is going to happen. See, if there would be a more amount of a sunlight, if there is a more amount of the sunlight here, more amount of the sunlight, so definitely there are chloroplasts present in these palisade cells. So definitely they are going to become active. As this chlorophyll activates inside the palisade cells, so definitely some chemical process is going to take place. I already said this light energy will get converted into the chemical energy. So this palisades, this chlorophylls gets activated by absorbing photons. What are photons? Photons are the smallest unit of light energy. Like in humans, the smallest unit is cell. So same like that, the light energy has the smallest unit, that is the photons. So first we have done with the activation of the chlorophyll. Now the splitting of the water. See, we can see out here the reaction, photolysis of water. See the reaction. If you are going to see, there is the half oxygen. Okay, there is half oxygen. The reaction can't be half, so multiply the whole reaction by 2. So what is going to happen? So here would be 2 water, here it would be 4, here it would be 4, and half multiply by 2 would be 1 only. So this is the proper reaction according to the textbook. That is, 2 water molecules will liberate 4 hydrogen ions, 4 electrons will be released, and oxygen molecules will be removed out. This process is called photolysis process. Why this is called as the photolysis process? Because this water, this breaking down of water happens in the light. So that is why it is called as the photolysis process. Because the word photo means light and lysis means breaking down. You have already studied electrolysis, the word. The word lysis means breakdown. Now what would be the end results of this photolysis? Okay, so we have seen that the 4 hydrogen ions, 4 electrons and oxygen got liberated. So what is the use of this? So let's understand them in detail. There were hydrogen ions. There was hydrogen ions. So what is the function of these hydrogen ions? There is one compound inside the plants. That is one chemical compound. That is NADP. NADP ions. NADP ion. So ion means plus. NADP means nicotine amide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. Okay, the full form, the abbreviation of this is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. This, with the help of electron and with the help of H plus ion, and the enzyme is going to work on this, and it is going to form a stable compound, that is NADPH. This compound was not stable. How we know? Because there was charge on this. This is a stable compound. How we came to know? Because there was no charge on it. So it forms up NADPH. What is the work of this NADPH? For extra energy. Okay, if the plant needs more energy, so where it is going to get? From this NADPH. Now the second step, we have seen the oxygen gas has been liberated, so definitely no work of so what is going to happen? This oxygen will liberate in the atmosphere so that the person can breathe. Okay, for the human part. Now third step. So in the first step, we had made up a new compound, that is NADPH. The function of NADPH to provide the more energy to the plants, the work of the oxygen for the survival of the living organisms. And now we have already heard about this term ADP. ADP. What is ADP? ADP means adenosine diphosphate. Diphosphate means 2-phosphate. So this diphosphate comes in contact with one inorganic phosphate. With the help of electron, this gets converted into ATP. And what is ATP? ATP is the energy molecules which helps the plant to get energy. Okay, ADP is stored in the plants, and in times of work the plant releases carbon dioxide and energy. This energy is released in the form of ATP. As this all process occurs during the daytime, this conversion of ADP with the phosphate with the electron helps to convert into ATP. So this was 2-phosphate, okay, and suddenly it got converted into 3 phosphates. So this is called phosphorylation. Okay, phosphorylation. Here the phosphorylation means adding of 1 phosphate, converting from 2 to 3. So one phosphate group is getting added. So that is why it is called as the phosphorylation. As this all process occurs during the daytime, so the whole process is called phosphorylation. Now light independent phase. Light independent phase can be also termed as dark phase. Okay, dark phase. This is also called as biosynthetic phase. Why it is called synthetic phase? Let's understand. biosynthetic phase. This light independent phase means, as we know, during the daytime there is light, so photosynthesis can happen. But during night time, plant does not get sunlight. So why does the plant doesn't die? The plant does not die because the function of the plant is, what does the plant does? See, we have studied about the photosynthesis part in detail. So what they does, they convert into glucose during the daytime. But during the night time, this glucose gets converted into the starch. What is this starch? This starch is the carbohydrate. It's a type of a carbohydrate. Okay? Glucose means a single molecules. But this starch means there will be several glucose molecules that forms up one starch like this. This holding up of the all the glucose, okay, is called polymerization. Polymerization. This polymerization is nothing but the chain. Okay, this is a chain which helps the plant to store up the food during the night time, and because of this, there is the chances or the survival of the plants get at the high level. So this is all about the light independent phase. So that is why it is called the biosynthetic phase, because during night time there is no light, then too the plants can prepare the food with the help of this, because the help of with the help of this polymers. Now this is all about the dark reaction, light reaction and the dark reaction. See, there is one line out here. So what is going to happen? See, this is a sunlight energy. This light reaction is going to happen in the thylakoid, which has been labeled as 1. Okay, and as this is going to happen inside this thylakoid, the plant is going to take in water with the help of the sunlight and chlorophyll, and it is going to release oxygen. We have seen this in the photolysis process. Okay, and this is the other half phase. Okay, this is the other half phase. This too is called stroma, which is a colorless ground, okay, ground substance, and this is the chloroplast. This is called as the Calvin cycle. This word is not mentioned in your textbook. So what happens during the night time? The plant takes in carbon dioxide and supplies the sugar to the whole plant, okay, to the whole plant, because if it is not going to supply the sugar to the whole plant, the plant will die. And we can see this NADP plus, we can see out here this NADP plus and this ADP gets converted into ATP and NADPH, which helps during the night time. Okay, this NADP, see these arrows, they are moving here because this is the stored form of energy. This NADP plus gets converted into NADPH because it needs more energy during the night time, because during the night time there is no sunlight, so definitely it is going to need more amount of energy. Again, this ADP with the help of this phosphate gets converted into ATP, which again help this plant during the night time for making up their food. So this was all about the light reaction and the dark reaction, and this was the part 1 of the photosynthesis. Okay, thank you students.